Okay, good morning, everyone. I see people are starting to come in. Welcome, welcome. So for those who are coming in now, we'll be using the chat for questions. So please test it out by typing where you're coming from or where you're connecting from. In the meantime, let's let everyone come in. We are now up to 25 participants and counting. Okay, I see we have Nuno. Hi there. Okay, well, while everyone is still coming in, I'll introduce the webinar. So firstly, welcome all to the first OCRE workshop. This workshop will showcase the OCRE Cloud Framework, how it works, and why the majority of European research institutions can benefit from them, even if they were unaware of its previous existence, as well as legal tips and tricks to working within the OCRE Cloud Framework. I'm Rob Perillo, and I'll be your host for today. In our workshop today, we'll have David Haynes, our OCRE project director, and from Giant, who will be doing the welcome and introduction. And this will be followed by Monique Pelinkov, also from Giant, who is the OCRE procurement specialist. And she will be talking about the OCRE Cloud Framework, specifically tender and law, tips and tricks to make the most of the OCRE Cloud Framework for your institution. Finally, we will head towards an open discussion. So please do take full advantage of that. This is the perfect time for you to clarify any doubts you may have about the OCRE Cloud Framework. I see that we now have more than 40 attendees and counting. I see we have people from Norway, UK. We have someone from Switch. Okay, I see there's somebody raising his hand. If you have any doubts, please do send us a chat. But I suppose we can begin now. So, David, the floor is yours.
Right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Dave Haynes. I am the head of cloud services at Giant, and I am also the project director on OCRE. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the OCRE project and then hand over to Monique to take you through some of the frequently asked questions we get on the procurement aspect and kind of how to procure. Just let me share my screen. Right, so what is the OCRE framework? The European Commission realized that cloud services was providing a lot of benefits to European researchers in terms of their activities, agility, improved outcomes. So they asked the OCRE project, they sponsored and asked the OCRE project to make the procurement of commercial digital services, cloud services, easy for the institutes. And what we did is we constructed a framework. We went out to tender in 2020. We had more than 1,100 bids across 40 countries, 40 lots. The outcome was 473 cloud contracts. 37 cloud platforms are represented, many of them European platforms. There are a minimum of 9 platforms per country, a maximum of 17 in the bigger Western European countries. And the relationships with the suppliers, the actual framework contracts, are all managed by the Giant contract management team. As you can see, we closed the date for submissions a little later during the COVID crisis in 2020. This is lot-based, so there's essentially a framework per lot. The framework contracts were signed just over a year ago, and the awarded contracts were made available via TED, the publication of the outcome in August 2021. As I said, there are 40 countries participating, about 10,000 institutes, and we will hope to support about 2 million researchers. Essentially, the competition amongst the hyperscale resellers is complete. So in each of your countries, there will be a single seller or reseller of each of the platforms represented. Why to use the framework? Okay, well, basically, you'd be crazy not to, because it was a big aggregated European procurement. There are significant discounts. There is no institutional tender required. The competition is essentially complete. In terms of compliance, each of these platforms have been tested using the Helix Nebula Science Cloud workloads. CERN is one of the OCRE consortium partners. All of the suppliers are bound by GDPR regulations, and Monique will take you through that in a little bit more detail. There is in-country support and call-off. So in each of your countries, there are suppliers that you can contact directly. Most of the platforms have peering points of presence within the broader Géant network. We negotiated data ingress and egress waivers, significant data ingress and egress waivers, which I think can be a maximum of a fraction of the actual consumption costs. We also make Cloud Interconnect, Express Route, and Direct Connect available. In terms of trust, identity, and security, all platforms had to support SAML 2 or OIDC. All platforms and suppliers have been invited to register for free on EduGain, the Géant Federation. These suppliers all have their own SOCs, their own security operations centers, and their capacity for threat surveillance and response is far greater, obviously, than anything anybody could be doing on premise. In terms of community support, each of the suppliers committed to 3 annual supplier workshops, to additional discounting. And then, as I mentioned, the Géant project work package for the contract management group get mandatory reporting from each of the suppliers in each of the countries every quarter. So you are able to see the local consumption trends in your countries and more broadly across Europe. And it's really, really important that the institutes do procure through OCRE, because it does provide this knowledge base for not only in country, but for the broader European community to see what cloud trends exist in this sphere, in this community. Right, Monique is going to take you through the legitimacy of the framework and how to procure.
Good morning. My name is Monique Benninckhoff. I'm the procurement specialist at Géant, and I'm going to tell you why the framework, the OCRE framework, is actually legit. So it has been tendered through EU procurement, and it was a really big open procurement. I think there were like 1,100 bids. And we struggled all through it, finalizing, actually awarding 473 contracts. It was full forced competition within, compliance to the EU tendering law. So we're thinking about the general principles of transparency, non-discrimination, equal level playing field, proportionality, which is really important in the Dutch law. So all these contracts, all these contracts actually resulted from this huge competition, huge tender. And also, of course, we're now are also compliant with all the other European Union laws, like the VIT regulations and the GDPR. So what we now have are the results is that we now have for 4 years, we can make use of this contract, and then that giving you the opportunity to actually sign call-off contracts within that framework. In those 40 lots, 40 lots is also 40 countries where you can actually award this call-off contracts for the cloud services. So what is possible? You actually have 3 options. I'm going to take you through it. To award a call-off contract, a direct award is possible, but under conditions, and I will fill that in later. And like Dave already told us, the contract management group is supporting us daily with the dashboard and with everything. We are also working with some European Commission funded projects. We're going to tell, well, I'm currently running them, so some of you actually might know me in this regards, but we're also going to do another call, but also later more information is about that. And the Nrings also, of course, on this fabulous webinar, they are helping us out, facilitating the relationship between the suppliers and the local research and education community, which is great, of course. Next, please. So it has been not only a lot of contracts and a lot of work and a lot of tendering competition, but it's also actually quite complicated in within laws, because well, we have a couple of that are actually well, they're relevant in this regards. So I try to draw it by drawing this this sheet. So to start with, of course, this the GEANT Association has the 40 Nrings who are members, right? And within all those 40 members, the Nrings actually are governed, of course, by their local laws. So this is where, you know, the left hand it starts. Then we, as a central purchasing body, compliant with the European tendering law, we and the directive, of course, we started the procurement process, and that procurement process is governed by the Dutch law, because GEANT actually is a Dutch association. We're now based here in cloudy Amsterdam. And then we signed the OCRE Framework, and the OCRE Framework contract, only the contract, is governed by Irish law. This is actually stated in all the 473 contracts, is that it is some, well, on the last page, you can read it's governed by Irish law. But the process, again, the procurement process, and also the process that follows from the contract, the framework contract, is governed by the Dutch law, because GEANT is, again, based in Amsterdam. So, but then the most interesting, I think, for you guys is that the call of contracts you're going to sign with the resellers within all the great discounts and all the great terms and opportunities for you, the call off is going to be actually signed under local law. So once you have signed actually the call off contract, local laws is going to be the governing law, and local laws is going to be actually the laws that you're going to work on with your cloud service supplier, your reseller within your lot. Next. So, like I already said, within Dutch law, again, the procurement process, there are 3 options that's possible to award the call of contract by. The first option is, of course, the most favorite, because it's the most fast and easiest once you actually know what you're doing. Is the direct award. So you can do this under some circumstances, and actually when it's economically not feasible to run a mini competition. That means that you're actually already working on a cloud platform, or that their partner, that you already have a standardized services that you're using. So within the Dutch law, it needs to be running a tender. It is a lot of work, right? We all know that. So it needs to be proportional to do so. And if you're already running services and you don't want to switch, it's not really proportional to do an entire mini competition. So this is why we say, if this is the case, if it's an already one race, right, for a supplier, you need to go direct if you want to. You should need to go. So this is why also when it's it's restricted within the licensing agreement or something, it is actually practical, not really feasible to do a mini competition or to do another award. So this is when you can go to do a direct award, and it's that really saves it up the tendering procedure of a mini competition, and provides you the opportunity to just sign off a call off contract and just go on actually with your great cloud services under the great discounts and terms and conditions of the OCRE framework. But we also have a second option. This is called the mini desktop competition. So what we're actually doing here, we're reusing all the awarding criteria we used in the giant framework tender. So in the initial ITT. So these ACs, awarding criteria, are service and support, marketing, adoption support, and exit support, and sustainability. So what we're going to do, that's the general, the awarding commission already scored all the resellers and wrote them all the proposals they actually provided us of a year and a half ago. So this is going to be your general starting point. And with this, so you're not going to get any new proposals because you're going to reuse the initial ones, right? So, and then one of our favorite vendors now, you're all our favorites, HANet actually, they actually have found an Excel sheet, and it's kind of like a tool you can use for this. And well, while you're just then kind of tweaking the measurements you want, because maybe you say, okay, sustainability is really important for me. Then you kind of tweak it up and you say exit support is not so important for me. You can tweak it down. And then actually in the end, all the resellers are ranked again, and then you can choose who is the best reseller for you, because it is from out your general principles and the awarding criteria tweaked by how you think it's going to be important for you as a customer. So, and also, as you know, the prices of cloud services, they deviate throughout the framework, right? What is set is actually the discounts. So the discounts are set, that's a percentage, but the prices, they deviate. So what you can actually do for all the platforms, you can just Google the cost calculators and then find out how much is that product that you want to buy currently. And then just take away the discount and take away all the great terms and conditions. And then you actually have a good actual and recent state actually of the services that you want to buy, and also the prices and everything. So this is how a mini desktop competition works. In short, we have an Excel sheet, and we use online cost calculators for all the platforms to actually calculate the costs, current costs. And of course, we have an option 3, my favorite, because this is actually what I'm doing with the European Union EC funding. So what you do with that is that you, within a lot, so in the 40 lots we have in OCRE, you choose your lot, and then all the resellers that have been awarded there, you're going to invite them to retender within a mini competition. So it's not going to be a grand tender. So it's all still, again, much easier than a really, really huge tender that we did in the start of that, and that's now where we're now actually enjoying for 4 years. It's going to be a mini competition. So then you're going to state this and these are my minimum criteria, and this is actually important to me. So I'm going to use this and this as awarding criteria. I'm using, for example, now within the European Commission funded projects, I'm using for 70% the ideal solution. So what is providing the ideal solution for the particular institute that I'm working with, and what is providing the most added value for that institution. And it's all based on the budget that was already stated, and it's going to be paid by from the European Commission funds. So now all the suppliers, they need to say, okay, knowing the institution, knowing the project, knowing where they want to go to, I think my cloud services offer the most ideal solutions because of, well, that actually, that really changes from supplier to supplier. And they say, and within the project budget, I actually provide the most added value because I provide I provide more training, extra additional, or I provide longer services, or I provide more storage or more services. So that really changes, and it's all within the same budgets, but it's just the opportunity to provide more than maybe you usually want to, because you really want to help out this institution and get more business, of course, for the reseller. So then afterwards, we get all the proposals in. Then there's an evaluation by the institution. They score, award, and then there's a standstill period of 7 days. And then all the contracts are going to be signed. And what happens? So the reseller and the institution are actually signing the call-off contract. And Géant, because we are paying with the EC funding, we're signing a voucher agreement. And this is this is actually the triangle I'm working with now currently with the EC funding. But you don't have to sign a voucher contract, because all the things in regards payment, if you pay it yourself, is actually governed by the call-off contract. All right, so again, in steps. It's really easy to how to use the framework. You create the demand. What do I need? What do I want? You think of minimum requirements. What do they need to provide at least? And if they don't provide it, a reseller goes knockout. And what do I think it's really going to be important? And what is the added value? What is going to be most remarkable if a reseller provides me this? So you create criterias. And with that's actually the starting point to create your demands and create your RFQ or your mini competition as we speak. Or maybe you just say, okay, I have a demand because I am already using a cloud service and I'm also already using a hyperscaler platform. And that's actually, so then you choose your procurement option. If that's the last example is the case, you're probably going to go for a direct award, because you don't want to go through all the mini competitions, struggles and things if you already have everything actually sorted already, right? But if you don't, you start a mini desktop competition if you don't want to go through a whole mini competition, or you just say, oh, well, I'm actually quite interested in reading all the proposals and actually doing my due diligence in the market, right? And I actually don't know a lot about the resellers and the services they provide. So then the mini competition is really cool for you to actually, go deep and explore what the market has for you to offer. And then, of course, afterwards, you score, you evaluate, you award, and then stand still, and then you sign the contract if there's not going to be any complaints.
Okay, so just in terms of the procurement, thanks Monique for taking us through that. What you might want to do is go to the OCRE website and just have a look at the cloud catalog. If you select your country from the map, you'll be able to see the various suppliers that did win framework contracts in your country. And it may be worth going to have a look at them. You can click on each of the suppliers. You will get their landing pages. You will get quite a lot of information on the services they provide, the offerings they have. And that is quite a good place to start. Also, if you are interested in procuring through OCRE and you go to the Géant Cloud Services site, which is fairly easy to find and navigate to, you can download a contract bundle from the Géant site. You'll request the download, and either the cloud manager at your local Nrings or a member of the contract management group will authorize it, and you will get the bundle. In the bundle, there's a lot of information. You do get access to the mini competition tool, and there's quite a lot of information in there. So I would encourage you to do that. Just finally, the OCRE project, not only did the European Commission want us to provide easy procurement routes for the institutes, but they also gave us a pool of money to distribute in terms of driving the adoption of these services across the research community. So Monique mentioned that we did run a call 2 years back. We are currently procuring on behalf of awarded institutes, but we still have about 6.5 million euros to spend. So we're anticipating in early April, opening a new call. And this time we're going to do it quite differently. We're going to ask the local markets in each of your country to reach out to the institutes and look for really interesting projects But at the same time, we're going to communicate through the OCRE communications team, Rob and his team, to the institutes to remind you to reach out to your local suppliers if you have an interesting project that you'd like to collaborate with them on a proposal. Convince us and convince our external advisory board who provide oversight over this process that your project can demonstrate the impact of cloud-based digital services on science. So if you do have a really interesting project and it's going to use these services in a really interesting way, you could win a voucher of up to 500,000 euros worth of cloud services for your project, and working with a local supplier. And then you would also be given an opportunity to participate with the OCRE communications team on the development of a compelling case study and get your research visible through the broader European Open Science Cloud initiative. So look out for the upcoming communications. Either via the OCRE project, we will be distributing information through the local Nring. And as I said, the publication date is April the 1st. I would imagine that we would have the tender open for, or the competition open for 2 months. So start thinking about it if you do have a project in mind, and reach out to your local cloud suppliers on the OCRE framework. Right, and I think this moves us into a Q&A that Rob will help facilitate.
Yes, that's right. So thank you very much, David and Monique, for that very interesting presentation. Lots of opportunities. So now I invite you to go into Slido. We will be sharing in our screen at the moment how to join it. Thank you for that, Zach. Please also add the link in the chat. So as we are now entering into the open forum part, let's just start with a few questions first, because we'd like to get to know you, and that will also help us formulate some answers for you, and make sure you get the right information. So let me just see if I can send the link directly. Okay. So please join us in Slido. I have now posted the link on the chat. Okay. So first question is, are you currently using cloud services? Okay, we have quite a few people participating. Okay, the overwhelming majority seems to be yes. Okay, let's give that a few seconds. Okay. Okay, so it's quite a few people also answering no. Okay. So thank you for that. I think we can move on to the next question. So next up, are you procuring by the OCRE framework? Okay, 10 responses and counting. Okay, about a fifth or a quarter are actually procuring via the OCRE framework. But the overwhelming number of respondents are not yet procuring by the OCRE framework. So if you have any questions later on about how you can use the OCRE framework, please do send us a question in the chat. Okay, I think we can go to the next question. Are you considering using OCRE? Perhaps these are for those that have said no earlier. Okay, we have 14 people in, and it seems a lot of them are saying yes. So it seems, Monique, you've been quite convincing today.
Probably I did that.
Okay, so we changed the question now quickly so that we don't get any no's. Anyway, so final question. Do you think you are able to procure via OCRE? Okay. That's interesting. Maybe that will be nice if you can tell us why you think you do have a limitation. So some say yes, some say no.
Interesting.
50-50.
I think it would be nice to know what these limitations are. Okay. Well, so just to clarify, so do you think you are unable to procure? Okay. So I think with that, perhaps we can go into the Q&A part. I did see a question earlier, or rather more of a statement during the presentation from Hans. You have to take into account the Nrings cost recovery fee when calculating cost. Any comments on that?
Yes, so that is a very good point. The Nrings across the 40 countries, we have very different styles of participation from the Nrings. Many of the Nrings have a very light touch referral role, and they may simply be authorizing you as a member institute to receive the package, and then you would just engage with the supplier and simply call off with the supplier. So there are a lot of Nrings doing that, and there are a lot of Nrings that have a 0% cost recovery. Where the Nrings are providing a lot more value in terms of support for your procurements. They have up to a 5% charge, and this does eat away at your discounts. But if they are providing significant value and support, then it makes it even more compelling to use the framework. Nrings like SURF, for example, in the Netherlands, have an underwriter role and are actually procuring on behalf of their member institutes, and obviously that requires a significant amount of resourcing. So that is a very good point.
Okay. We're still waiting for a few more questions to come in. Any thoughts, meanwhile, while waiting for some questions to come in? Any thoughts on our mini survey a while ago? Perhaps David.
So I'm really excited to see that a lot of people are hoping to procure through OCRE. We have seen, and it would have been really interesting to pop up a slide on these statistics, but we've seen from the previous OCRE Cloud Framework to the OCRE Cloud Framework, we see between 100 and 120% increase year on year on consumption through these frameworks. As I said, with OCRE and the reporting that we provide to the NREN, that we provide to the community, that we provide to the European Commission and to the members of the European Open Science Cloud, in terms of the rates at which the research community are consuming these services, it is really important that where people are interested in procuring through OCRE, we make that work, because that does provide the kind of additional knowledge. I'd be very interested to get a couple of questions on why some folk think they may not be able to procure through OCRE, because that might be, related to kind of local procurement laws in country, but it would give Monique an opportunity to address some of these questions directly.
Okay. What about you, Monique? What were your impressions on our mini survey a while ago?
Well, yeah, I'm quite surprised that everybody is using a lot or using cloud services already, and but not through OCRE. So I think that's maybe a missed opportunity there. So it would be really cool if this little webinar or some other session, or I don't know, we can help out on that one, right? Because, as I stated out a couple of times now, there are some cool discounts and there are really good terms and conditions on this. So why do your own tender? And also that also costs a lot of time and money and efforts. So I hope that people then now think, we don't have to do that. We can just use OCRE. So that would be really, really grand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't see any questions yet, but perhaps
there's some in the Q&A, Rob.
There's someone in the Q&A. Okay, just a second. Yes. So in Switzerland, there is a legal opinion which says that local procurement law isn't respected. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, yes. We have been working within Switzerland also and with Switch. So what happens in Switzerland is that some actually European Union countries have that. We also have that in the Netherlands. So when you are procuring, or before you procure, when you go into an ITT procedure, you need to publish this on the Swiss the Swiss website is called CNAP. It's like a national platform where you can you can actually state to the market, hey, we're going to procure this, be aware, and and please provide your proposal on time. This is the planning, this is going to be the scope. Yeah, thank you, Stefan. CMAP. So this didn't happen in Switzerland. It did happen within the European Union. It's called TED, really great site. And we did it, of course, also in the Netherlands and a couple of other countries, but apparently we didn't do this on time at CNAP. So, but what there is a possibility, so there's still possibility to procure under OCRE. So you have below thresholds, below thresholds assignments, of course, in contracts. But I think also you can still publish every time you want to, actually, on CNAP. So that is a publication still, and then you can provide the market to respond. So say reasonable time for a market to respond is 30 days. You can say, okay, I'm going to use OCRE, is there any response, any objections or anything from the market? And if not, I think you provided a really good opportunity for the market to engage. And if there's not going to be any objections or anything, you can still use it validly.
Hopefully, Stefan, that answers your question. You're able to unmute in case you have a follow-up question or a statement. That's fine. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we're open to other questions if you have any. Okay, I don't see any other questions on the chat. Okay. You can also raise your hand if you have a question that you would like to ask verbally. That's also fine. Okay. I don't think we have any more questions from the audience. Perhaps they would rather ask it also in private. But anyways, that's fine.
Reach out to us.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And I think maybe that questions means that Monique did an excellent job, in fact.
Indeed.
Explaining how to use the framework. But her point in please reach out to us. Please reach out to us. We are using the framework, obviously, to distribute the European funding. We have got a lot of experience with these procurements. We are not getting any objections from the market. The market is actually incredibly supportive. Please go, as I said, to your list of suppliers for each of your countries. Navigate via the OCRE website to our cloud catalog. Reach out to the suppliers. The suppliers also are well supported by the contract management group, and do reach out to the contract management group for any problems that you may have in kind of engaging with the supplier. We provide a lot of that kind of support through the market. So please reach out. This is what we're happy to do, what we enjoy doing. And, we really do see a lot of opportunity, and we're seeing really good uptake.
Excellent. Any last words as well from your side, Monique?
Well, also think about if you have a cool new project you would like to have financed by the European Commission, and you think, this is a really cool opportunity for you to also reach out to your vendor or to us, but actually to your resellers to say, hey, reseller, or just all the resellers within your lot, we don't care. I think create your own, create the largest opportunity for your project to be funded. And then hopefully you can engage with your resellers in the cool competitions we're going to run. Well, within a month, or bit over a month probably. But so think about that and enjoy this opportunity.
Excellent.
I'll just add, sorry, Rob, butting in here.
Sure.
In the chat, I've just sent the link to the cloud catalog where you can find the resellers for, in your lot, clicking on the map on the country or on your flag below. And they're listed all the resellers, and as well as the NREN and their contact emails as well. So that makes things easy for you to get in contact with them to propose a cool project.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Zach. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Please do keep in touch with us, and do keep track of the OCRE website. We have a couple of upcoming events, engagement opportunities where you can meet us. So just do check that out. The recording and the slides will be available on the event page at the OCRE website. So just check it out after or within the week when we expect to post them. So with that, thank you very much, everyone, and have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.